Can we get a clap? That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work.
What's up, y'all? It's episode 39 of the Get the Goods podcast.
39.
I'm Mike Floss.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to be here with two of the most wonderful,
Yes, sir.
melanated, long hair don't care.
It is a lot of hair in there.
We in here with the illustrious, the sunburnt Jamaican,
Oh, yeah.
Erica Perry, and
Ooh,
the general.
Straight off the plane.
the general, the president, the El Capitan. Shout out to all the Hispanic and Latinx and Latina people in the country right now.
Yes, sir.
We ain't here with Jamel Campbell Gooch.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's not that he exists within that. I think it's because I said El Capitan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Shout out to the Afro-Mexicans too.
Yeah,
come
for
on.
sure.
There you go.
Look, it's black people
Afro-Cuban.
that's immigrants now. Let's
Yeah.
stop acting
I
like
don't know why people act confused.
Nah, for real.
that's not. That
People
should.
do act
We should be the most familiar with coming from another country and being.
Nah, for real, though.
We are very well versed in that. But look, episode 39 of the Get the Goods podcast. So happy to be here with y'all today, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
How y'all feel?
I mean, I
You
feel
know,
amazing.
I feel good. I feel like, major victory alert. Victory is mine.
Hold that.
Oh, yeah.
No, but
Okay.
I'm telling you how I feel.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that, and I think that after you play a really good game, you like, oh, okay, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like that.
How you feel, Jamel?
I feel so. I feel great.
Okay.
I feel great. And the type of athlete I was is after I play a big game, I'm looking for the next one. Yeah, I'm trying to see what skills I can develop after playing game tape that make me more unstoppable. So that's how I'm feeling.
Okay.
Love that. So look, we here. The Get the Goods podcast is brought to you by the Southern Movement Committee. A big thing that we always do every episode
Yep.
is talk about the news.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. What y'all got?
I got a few news stories. Okay, so the first one is it just happened on Wednesday morning. Supreme Court upheld the Tennessee's ban on gender affirming care for young people.
Okay.
Which is really devastating for young people who are queer and trans who are looking to access gender affirming care. So just really thinking about how do we hold our people close and build community and make sure we recognize each other's dignity and humanity, particularly those who are right now being attacked for the way they exist in the world. And so that's one piece of news. Tennessee Tennessee passed it. It got challenged, went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was like, nah, y'all can do that.
Yeah.
So it's a frustrating day. On the other side of the spectrum, right? Tennessee State University reached an agreement.
96 M's.
Right,
I'm just going
Yeah.
we're going to talk about 96 M's. We got 96 M's in the building.
Yeah. So that's my news. We living in Tennessee. Tennessee leads the country in many interesting ways. I think it leads the country also in I believe it's infant mortality. And so Tennessee be making wild decisions. Obviously.
So it should be ground zero for resistance.
Absolutely. What
Love
you said.
that. Love that.
Yeah.
What you been saying,
It's
Jamel?
maternal mortality, my bad.
Yeah. The fight in Memphis against XAI.
Yeah.
There's an interesting clip going viral of Roland Martin
Oh my goodness.
saying some really interesting things.
What he
Now,
said?
he was like, this city is 64% black. This is the clip. I don't know what else he say outside this clip. He was like, this city is 64% black. It has black elected officials, and this city should not look like this for black folks. And then he talks about the procurement process of black people that receive contracts from the city, which I didn't notice. They're under 20%.
Did he
Just
so you
like
looked
that.
up?
Yeah, I saw the clip. So just like Nashville,
Well, I'm saying
You saying is that accurate?
Information accurate?
I'm not sure, but what I was going to say is Nashville historically does terrible also with giving out contracts to black folks that do industrial work.
Okay.
So all of the building that's happening in Nashville, they very few times give those contracts to black ran and black owned construction companies.
Gotcha.
So it wouldn't be surprised if a place like Memphis also might have a lower, might not be doing as good on that, because that is an issue that's across municipalities across Tennessee.
Yeah, I can see how it would be an issue. Why do y'all think it's an issue? Is it because like black people are just not invited into the process?
I think
it's a few different things. One, I think it speaks to the reality that black people have to face. Right. Because a lot of people think that they one good business decision away from being Elon Musk.
Right. Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
But they don't realize that in this system, in this game that they play, the cards is already stacked against you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They cheating.
They already cheating.
They cooking the books.
They know they want to get the
Yeah, that's what.
So you don't have even a fair shake at the dice roll of what this game is.
Right.
The dice is loaded.
Right.
So I think that's one thing. The other thing is your value to them is far less than what you think it is.
Yeah.
They don't care about how this affects your neighborhood, your community, your family, none of this. Even if they cut the contract with you. Right. So we have to start looking at this from a collective construct and not just an individual got cut a check to do a job that may harm a lot of people.
No, that's real.
Yeah. And I think the way the rules are set up, like you said, the dice are loaded. That's why it doesn't make sense for us to play this game. We need to actually create a whole different game, the complete transformation of society. The other thing that I've been on the inside track of, there's this thing that is coming. Nashville is becoming one of Fifth Third's community cities, where they're hoping to drive revenue and give low interest rate mortgages to folks that are trying to live in North Nashville, which is super interesting as well. So all of that is all of that is happening. Like all of that economic growth is happening in Nashville.
Okay, yeah. So that is news. Is out. It's in the news.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in the news, but it's something we should be talking about for sure.
It's in the news once this podcast drops.
What's the
we the news?
Yeah. Come on. Hey, that's it.
I don't like that one.
Okay. What's wrong with that?
It was just like you started the dap from like very far away from where I was at. Okay. You got to bring the dap towards the person. There we go. Yeah.
It was supposed to be that.
She was gonna make it reach.
I don't trust your dap ability.
So, what are they getting out of this? Fifth Third.
I mean, low interest rate mortgages.
So people gonna be paying them back.
Yeah. You gonna have mortgages. You gonna have to pay them back.
It's a loan. It's a loan.
They not handing out free, but it's low interest, which is the thing.
Might be lower.
Right.
Okay.
And what I'm really hoping to push them on.
Are they gonna give it to people like how you gonna get it to people who are like who are less likely to get it from traditional banks?
Right. So what I'm hoping to push them on is two areas. One, we need to be able to have a soft handoff. In other words, it's like we need to be able to refer folks that may not fit the circumstance, and they go through a process and a program, and at the end of that program, they get a low interest rate mortgage, no matter where they coming from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then two, there needs to be a special trajectory for folks that have been displaced from North Nashville, either due to the highway or other issues, or folks that are under the age of 40 that are paying an absorbent amount of rent and needed the ability to own a home to get above economically. So those things, those are two areas that I've really been hoping to push them on.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I like that. Those kind of three demands.
It is an interesting tension, though, between folks that are more aligned to want their. It is an interesting tension between people that own property and people that live in the district, in the area, right? Which is, if you own property in the area, it might not, the most valuable thing, the thing that's going to make your property value go up might not be people living on that property. But if you live in the area, you want more people to live there. So that type of thing is a weird tension.
Property you own though, like is it like people who own property that they just sitting on? Is that they feeling, or is it people who are like
living in the space?
Yeah.
Both and. So you have commercial real estate. So when we're talking, what I'm learning is when we're talking about economic development this big, it's usually not residential people in the neighborhood, because residential people don't own the greatest amount of census tracts or lots. Yeah. Most of the folks that own the greatest amount of lots are going to be real estate developers. So whenever they come into a space and like, we want to invest into this community, the first people that are at the table are real estate developers who own lots on that land, right? And the most valuable thing you can do to increase your money is create a commercial zoning, right? So most of North Nashville is zoned in that way.
Gotcha.
Right? It's not zone residential. And so there's a reattention between what does it look like to help support people be able to move back into the area who have been displaced through low interest rate mortgages. And then also what does it look like from the commercial stance, which is not me, to make sure that their property value goes up.
And oftentimes we meet this process once all the cards have been settled,
right?
Everything has been laid out,
right?
And folks is just like, yo, this is what it is,
right?
So it's interesting to be able to enter into this process prior,
right,
to that, and be able to have a media platform where we can kind of like share this information with folks,
right?
The other thing I'll be interested in is what with collective cooperative economics, like how do we set the foundation for that to be possible?
Yeah,
because maybe me by myself, I ain't got it. You know, but if I get 3 people together, what does it look like for us to engage in that process?
Yeah. So for me, what I've been trying to do, like, is make sure I tell anybody and everybody that I know that this is coming, right? Just to gauge potential interest, right? And then the other piece I think is very important is, I don't know how to say this, is that oftentimes private interest is not going to meet up with like what the public want. And so trying to figure out from a systems from an inside outside strategy, how do we make sure we put our people in the best position, right? To be able to live where they want to live. But also how do we also put them in the best position to make sure their neighborhoods reflect what they actually want them to look like.
Got you. Yeah. That's part of work the Black National Assembly.
Right. And housing is a big thing in our city.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting too because it's based on a particular area of town. You know,
right.
We come from literally what? When was the budget vote? Yesterday.
Yep.
Tuesday.
Yep.
So on Tuesday we had the budget vote and we heard how the city council decided to spend Nashville's money.
Yeah.
Right? $3.8 billion.
Yes, sir.
That the city is trying to determine how they spend.
Yep.
And you're hearing even yesterday and then even in the budget hearing where we had a lot of members, a lot of students, a lot of different people come out and speak about directly to their council member in their districts about how they feel the money should be allocated. Right. So being able to break down how you can engage in that process based upon what area of the city you live in, I think is important to know that's important. Like if we can build power in our districts, then we can build power in the city, which means we can then build power across the state. But yesterday, the budget vote happened, $3.8 billion, substitute budget chair, Delisha Porterfield substitute budget passed.
Yes, sir.
Right? And we on a big win, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes,
we on a big win.
Yes, sir.
2 years back to back.
2 years.
Okay? So what actually happened is, the mayor proposed a budget.
Yep.
Right? And then the city council has the opportunity to present a substitute budget.
Right.
2 substitute budgets was presented. Jamel, you want to talk a little bit more about this?
So there was 2 substitute budgets presented, but so just to lay a little bit of groundwork. So there's multiple budgets. So we had a city council. So we had folks that went down there, and we also had a community dinner that watched it, which was interesting. Well, somebody who was there was like, "How many budgets are presented tonight?" Because they just wanted it simple. So we had the mayor's budget, we had the chair's substitute budget, and then in the late hour, we had councilperson Courtney Johnston's budget. Now, these three budgets really had various different things, but the substitute budget kept the tax levy the same as the mayor's. Courtney Johnston's budget did not increase taxes, but it cut every single department, right? Which was a major thing, right?
Then they lied and said it didn't, which was crazy.
Right. And we literally pulled it up and saw where they struck out.
We looked at then we looked at something. It was every department was like slash.
Public schools took the biggest slash, which was around 52 million, right? And that was all to make up for the loss of revenue that the taxes had created, right? Which is also this interesting tension between property owners that live outside of traditionally downtown Nashville in that urban corridor, who own humongous amounts of land, a lot of real estate and estates.
I need to see where I live.
What you mean?
Do I live in?
You
USD
might be
or-
GSD.
I was thinking
Yeah.
So Nashville.
And it's not because I got a lot of land. It's because I live like kind of.
And a lot of black folks do because they've been pushed out of the city.
Yeah.
So it's important. I just want to walk the listeners along. So there's two different districts. So at one point in time, there was Nashville, and then there was Davidson County. Those two things were split. So it was Nashville, which was the city of Nashville, and then the county, the Davidson County. Memphis looks like this, where you have the city of Memphis, and then you have Shelby County, right?
Except for they got two different governing bodies.
And that's what it used to look like in Nashville, right? When it was combined, they created the metropolitan. But that split still exists. So what was the city of Nashville is called the Urban Service District.
Yeah, I live in the GSD.
And what is the GSD is called the General Service District, which was the county of Davidson.
Sure, I do. I don't know.
You do. And so it's this weird tension when you're watching the budget of folks that live in the urban service district, which 72% of people that live in Davidson County live in the urban service district.
Antioch?
General Service District. It's just a lot of.
That's where they was like, your tax is gonna be
Is
increased
it?
more. That's what one of the council members said. I don't know. I haven't done that research.
The more southern you get, the outer perimeter. So think about the outer perimeter. Joelton, District 1, way down in Antioch when you go towards Cane Ridge, all the way over to Lipton.
Yeah.
Right? So those are.
Probably Bellevue.
There we go. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that was the issue. They were like, your tax percentage is going to go up more. But I do want to say, okay, so can I say something?
Come on.
Two things. One, there was a conversation around like the thing that folks talked about the most at the public hearing, the budget hearing earlier this month was education, youth safety, and housing. So just tagging that along to what you're saying about housing and taxes. But what was interesting was that the substitute budget presented by Council Lady like Johnston was about not raising taxes. So then the GOP was there like, don't raise our taxes. Which was so interesting because I'm like, well, if the state was doing what it was supposed to do, then the city would be in a different position.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
the state won't even allow the city to actually be able to get the real revenue it needs from certain districts and from corporate entities.
Right.
Secondly, because of also, if the state stepped up and funded things at a certain level, then the city wouldn't have to do it at such a high level. So I just thought it was really interesting. I'm like, you're literally the people,
And-
the GOP runs the state government.
And the city provides money to the state
Yeah.
in a very high level.
Yeah, that's why I was like, y'all need to go over there. You need to go down the street and talk
Holla
to
at
them.
your cousins and ask them
I
to
like
give you
your
the money
people
that they
who
owe you.
Run the state.
Literally last year, District 19, which is considered downtown Nashville, made the city like it was some absorbent amount, like 1.8 million every 7 days.
What?
Yeah, and so it's because downtown District 19 creates so much revenue, like Erica was saying, the state takes most of that and distributes it to other counties.
Yeah.
Which
I'm like, cool, I get that because other
makes
counties
sense,
ain't getting that type of like traffic. And at the same time, still make sure you pay, like make sure the schools getting what they need.
Yeah.
Stop trying to defund schools and defund social services.
And make vouchers.
yeah,
Right.
especially as the feds cut dollars off to the states, I think it makes sure those District 19 dollars stay in Nashville. I think that makes it even more important.
Yeah, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna sit with that.
But the beautiful thing about community organizing is when you bring your people together and unify them behind a common goal, you can apply pressure to governing bodies
That's real.
to get your people what they need.
No, for real.
And a big thing that we say is the reason why this podcast is named this is because we organized to what?
To get the goods.
The good.
To
For
get
sure,
the goods.
for sure.
And we was able to influence the local budget in such a way that we've got a $1.7 million budget allocation to prevent youth-based gun violence, which also helps create safety across the entire city.
And in addition to that, is to get to the root cause of gun violence and reduce the size and scope of the criminal legal system or prison industrial complex in the lives of young people and their families. And so it exists as an alternative to police and jail as well.
And it's really important to say that when that budget allocation is made, that's not money that's going into the Southern Movement Committee's pockets or into the Southern Movement Committee's bank account. That's money that's going into programs and going into departments at the metro metropolitan government of Nashville level.
Not us.
Yeah. And that money goes into the Office of Youth Safety, and that money goes into the Parks Department to create more programming and community centers. So it's a really beautiful thing that our young people have been able to lead. And I also think it could be a national model for what co-governance could look like when you have community working with elected officials to create what they need.
And implement really sound community-driven programs. So shout out to the whole Youth Assembly. Shout out to the Black National Assembly. Shout out to the parents, families, community members who threw down on the varsity spending plan.
When you see them white football jerseys, you know what time it is.
You know what it is. With the yellow on it.
You know what time it is.
It's the winning team, and I do invite people to join the winning team. You know, what I thought was so powerful last night was like not just the victory in like what the material thing we were able to get, but also the like seeing the leadership development, the building of power, like that's significant. I feel like that's just as important because it opens the windows for other wins. So if we get a window here and we get people bought in and committed to the process of like movement building, then okay, the housing win is right down the street, right? The GBI must be right down the street too. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I mean by like,
what's GBI?
Guaranteed basic income.
We're
going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
You know, I'm forecasting.
Okay.
But I'm forecasting more victories too. I feel excited.
Love it. And you know what? It's important for people to know that our movement, and this is a nationwide thing, people with the similar politics and beliefs and values that we hold, that we getting wins out here. Like it's not, I know we live in a very devastating time.
Yeah.
We live in a time where it's like extreme harm going on at the national level, at the state level, at the local level, and globally.
Yes.
Like, but it's important to know that we still alive and well, and we making gains out here.
Yeah. And even in our losses, we learning lessons, and we're able to adapt. You know, because we lost in 2023. 6 months later, was like, hey, we got to win. And so just being able to adapt and be like, keep going and building on the momentum, I think is really, really powerful.
It's been centuries and we ain't quit. Yeah. We come in the lineage of our ancestors. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's been centuries.
Look, ask the dolphins. Ask the trees.
Okay, wait. I was finna go crazy. And then,
they still here.
Ask the who?
Ask the dolphins.
The dolphins.
How you do that? You know it's illegal to talk to dolphins?
Ain't no dolphins in the Cumberland though.
Did you know that?
Yeah, say more.
Because dolphins have like a romantic attraction to human beings.
Well, ask the whales.
Ain't no whales in the Cumberland.
Dolphins. Well, who's in the Cumberland?
Catfish.
Okay, my family knows something about catfish.
Hey,
they definitely do.
If you in Paris, Tennessee, go to Paris Barbecue. Paris Barbecue right now. You know what I'm saying? Get you a half chicken.
Yeah. I think one theory that we are proving works is doubling down on local politics.
And organizing.
And local.
Build.
Yeah, for sure.
Develop new leaders.
Yes, sir.
Political education.
Yeah.
Those things I think are just really, the basics. The basics. Yeah. And looking fly while doing it. Shout out to y'all. Can you tell me about the cowboy hats today?
You took yours off, bro. I'm not acknowledging that question with a response. What I will say is we coming off of a lot of it's been busy, y'all.
Yeah, it's been real busy.
It's been a lot going on.
It's been real busy.
My head is swimming right now.
Yeah. What's been going on with you, Erica? Tell us about it.
Okay. So I went to 3 weddings in like a month.
3?
Okay,
which ones you went to?
I went to, shout out, congratulations to Jordan and Desi.
Real members.
Jordan, Desi, really, TSU also. Shout out to them.
You already know what type of time it is.
TSU know how to
Land
have
of gold and sunshine.
Okay? Let me tell you.
Big Blue.
TSU know how to have a
By
wedding.
the Cumberland's fertile shores.
And then my cousin Shonda, she married her husband Charles.
Congratulations.
That was in Knoxville. Congratulations to
East
them.
Tennessee. Okay.
East Tennessee. Then I went to Jamaica.
Okay, shout out to the Caribbean.
Way outside of Tennessee.
Right. My sister got married, so congratulations to Nikki and Josh.
Yeah.
So it's really great. I got to see and I think it feels really, really good to know that also Black women are being loved and Black love exists and people are still
Hold on, you thought Black
other.
love didn't exist?
No, but sometimes people,
people
get what's the word?
They get confused.
Not confused, but be like, oh no, because
disheartened.
If you look on social media, sometimes it'll be like, oh my god,
whose algorithm you looking at?
It's so many algorithms. People, y'all algorithms, they was mad at Deontay Cal for taking up for Black women like 3 days ago. So
okay,
this is a real thing, and so I've been on this wedding tour. I'm really grateful to see all of that. And I decided, as I was, observing this and also being in community with people who are single, I was like, I should just announce my calling as a matchmaker.
Calling.
Let me finish.
Interesting choice of words.
I should just accept it and just be like, I think I should be a matchmaker.
What gave you that feeling that's your calling?
Because I'm around a lot of people who are single and are looking for love.
Wait. Time out. Normally your calling is something that you're doing. Not like that's like being like, I'm on a losing basketball team, so it's my calling to be a point guard in the NBA. Like that's not exactly. I think you didn't get. I don't think you got that definition.
What a calling happened at?
So I guess.
Explain
Who
the
have
calling.
you match made?
Explain the calling.
So this is the thing. We are in circles, or people are like, "Oh no, I'm looking for a man." Oh no, I'm looking. I'm looking for a
Point
man.
of order. The question was, who have you match made?
I have. I think in the past, and I can't remember all of them because I am really good when I do it. And I think a part of it has to be also cultivating, supporting people and being like, you might like this person, but this is how you probably want to be showing up and thinking about before, y'all connect. And so folks are the city boys, city girls. Some of them are down bad right now.
Some of them.
And need some support. And I'm going to be that person.
What city boys are you talking about? Because I don't know no city boys. When you say that, I'm just curious. When you say that,
I'm not down.
I don't know what city boys you talking about in the first place.
Though, because they say in order to really be a master of an art form,
this man crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You have to wield it
but
yourself.
They say if you can't do it, you teach it.
That is true.
That's not a positive affirmation. You misunderstood. You thought that was something good somebody was saying.
No, they did. That's because
Oh, they said that to you about matchmaking.
Somebody gonna use your services.
Let me ask you this.
Trying to find somebody.
Somebody
go.
All right,
okay, let's go here. Let's get in.
Somebody go.
Okay, I want to go deep. You know what I'm saying? We said we need more depth in our relationships as a people.
Yeah.
Who would be a good match for you?
So
are you matched?
I'm not matched.
Oh, you're not matched. Okay.
My first client might be me.
That's good. Then you can charge more.
The sky's the limit.
I'm a pilot myself.
Yeah.
And then address the lesson and see what we got at that.
Okay. I like that. So if you were to matchmake yourself, what would be your advice?
I would, to me,
that's good.
Myself,
that's good. Yeah, that's good.
I would
that's
be
good
like,
question.
be serious, Erica.
Be serious.
Oh, you want serious?
Be serious. Be serious. Prioritize it.
Do you feel like you're serious right now?
What's going on?
I feel like I really do want a thing, but I'm like, dang, I really have to do. I feel like maybe I need to make a life shift to prioritize it. So I don't know. I have to figure it out, or maybe I just need to be still. I don't know. I haven't determined it.
So if you don't know, do you feel like you have the ability to matchmake other people? If somebody tell me
they really ready, then I probably can't find them somebody who's really ready.
Oh, so wait, so you gonna go on a date with a nigga? He like, I'm ready to do this. You like, I know the perfect woman for you.
You hard, Erica. This is a different level right here.
That's player. I put the hat back on. That's player. I like that. I like that.
This is a different level.
Okay, all right, she done.
That's not what
I was like, this is some super player. Lord Jesus.
No.
Okay.
If I have a friend who's like, hey, I'm really looking for somebody, I might know somebody else. Who's like, I'm like, ooh, you might be. And then I try to plan an event or something to invite them to where they can meet.
Jamel, what's been going on in your life?
I do think calling all pastors, I do think there's going to become a time where you're going to have to start arranging marriages again. Just heads up.
What's y'all's take on an arranged marriage?
That's probably what I need.
So
myself ain't doing it.
Eugene. We got Eugene in the building. Eugene said he with that. You with that? It's a thumb up or a thumb down? Thumbs down on arranged marriages. Okay, Eugene ain't rocking with that.
I ain't gonna lie, it's a thumbs up for me. I ain't gonna tell you twice.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you twice on a third Sunday.
I landed on that.
Hold on, landed on it in what way?
Well, the reason why I was like, oh, that would be something for me. But I had to sit with myself. I was like, because I'm not trying to do the work of finding somebody. So I want somebody to do it for me.
Wait, so you want to be a professional work of finding somebody? Fire her immediately. If Erica's matchmaking for you.
She already out of here.
Hold on, but let me.
That's crazy.
But let me say something. I think we should start doing community debates because I'm going to be on the pro side of this. And let me explain. I'm finna go and pitch my argument right now.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
3 points.
Let's hear it.
Shoot, I'm finna give you a lecture. You only want 3? All right, 1, right? We don't have the time in this day and age to actually figure out who in the 10-mile radius is connectable with us, right? At one point in time, in previous generations, when there were no phones, when there were no social media, your social environment was your neighborhood. That's real. So it was easier to find 2 or 3 people. 2, we have historically already been doing this. Our grandparents, our grandmamas, our granddaddies, our great-grandparents, our great-grandmamas, our great-granddaddies, a lot of them were put together because they were the only people of that age. Right. That's simple, right? And then 3, our social networks don't look the same anymore. It's hard to find folks near you that have the same value as you because there's no social forum other than social media, which people only show what they want you to see. So there's really no social forum. So we're also losing the ability to interact with each other face to face. So what does it look like? And I'm not talking about the forcing of an arranged marriage. I'm not talking about that. So we have to take away the Western part of it. I'm talking about where the elders have said, you and you might be a good fit for each other. Try it.
Yeah.
Or your friends.
But ain't that really how most people's relationships happen anyway?
With, introduction.
People be like, hey, this is my homeboy, blah, blah, blah.
I'm telling you right now, that ain't never happened.
But that's not an arranged marriage, though. An arranged introduction is very different than an arranged marriage.
I think as you get older, though, you have less time for just arranged introductions.
I can't go in blind, bro. I can't do it.
But I do agree with like introductions. Like I think that I feel like we have to figure out how to support people in belonging and building community and building connections. Like I think we do have to prioritize that. Whether it's romantically or friendship, too many people are lonely because we haven't yet figured out. And I think we should have to systematize and build infrastructure
That's what I'm trying to
for
say.
people to belong and connect.
You know
that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, can I give y'all a real nigga point?
Yeah.
A lot of y'all wouldn't recommend y'all friends to y'all friends because y'all friends ain't nothing. Okay, so when we gonna start talking about?
That's disgusting.
When we gonna start talking about? I got a homegirl that's looking to get married and a homeboy that claim he looking to get married, but I wouldn't connect him to her because she ain't nothing, or vice versa. He ain't nothing.
Me and Erica got an argument about this the other day. I said somebody lying.
Somebody lying.
Somebody lying. Everybody saying they looking for somebody else. And they can't find nobody?
And we know them? We know all these people?
Yeah, somebody lying.
So maybe what we actually need to start, maybe the first step.
I'm not talking about you.
Maybe the first step in matchmaking is checking on your friends and figuring out why they got these gaps and these blind spots maybe in their character, maybe in their behavior, maybe in their discipline, maybe in their seriousness.
Maybe some people don't though.
Don't what?
Then why you ain't recommending them?
Don't what though?
I recommend my people.
Hold on, don't
you ain't
what,
recommending me nothing.
Easy. That's easy. That's true. Easy. Easy. I ain't got no recommendation either. I ain't got no recommendation. Maybe we should be your first 2 clients.
No, I don't hire nobody that ain't got a proven method.
You need a pilot in.
I'm not a pilot. I ain't a pilot. Call Namar. I ain't a pilot.
It's a pilot program.
Call the actual pilot.
Shout out Namar. Hey, okay, cool. So, okay, it's on me now, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
My life. All right, I just put a new song out. Yay. Very excited about
What's it
called? Right Where I Belong.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Tell us where you wrote it.
Where I wrote it?
Yeah.
I wrote it in Los Angeles.
Oh, bet.
Shout out to CL, the homie. We've been making music together for a long time, but we really we on a real diligent. That's somebody that's holding me accountable to our release schedule. To like, hey, you got to be active on the socials. You got to do this. You got to do that. That's very helpful to me.
That's
and of course, y'all know I talked about this probably at the top of this year about pursuing my interest in fashion.
Yeah.
So people are beginning to see like the stuff that I've been making.
Yeah.
And it's been getting like actually really a dope response.
That's
like
fire.
people have been really excited
That's
about
fire.
it. So it made me feel good. I don't know if I'm interested in starting a brand or nothing like that, but it is really
What would
cool.
you call your brand? Well, you can't tell nobody.
I have like 4 different brand
Don't
names.
tell nobody.
But
Because you know we the line leaders.
that's a fact. But
Draw the line.
I will say, I'm gonna have some stuff available. I got a show coming up July 12th. Got a show.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have some of like the product that I'm working on at that show.
We can buy
That's
it.
gonna
Do
be
you
fire.
want me to be like a brand ambassador?
You can buy it in advance.
You're making a lot of connections, bro.
Yeah.
What's up?
That's cool. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me, man. I'm really excited.
Oh, I can go. My fault. That's dope. I just wanted to say, like, I've been looking for a new hobby, and so I've been really getting into horses, like quarter horses, and so I've been really
Hold
doing
on, get into what?
quarter horses.
What's that?
So it's a different type of horses. There's a very particular type of horse, a quarter horse.
So like you want to like support them or like what do you want?
So I've just been doing research.
I meant like support like
What
Take
you
care
doing?
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think long term, I want to own a horse sooner
too.
or later. But
Or do you want to like guardian a horse?
I want to own a horse, like like you own a dog, like
No, I
a
don't say
pet.
we own pets. We guardians.
Okay.
It's slavery, ain't it?
But yeah, so I've just been doing a lot of research in that because before I go to any of the events, I want to know more about them. So that's why I've been just
What's
checking.
the first event?
I don't
Bro,
know
they
yet.
got the Black Rodeo in Oklahoma. We should go.
We should, but it's gonna be probably about a year because I need to know everything before I go. I want to know all the things about the horses
you can
before
be
I
like
get, so I can really understand what
locked
that
in.
is.
Why do you
Yeah.
choose corduroy horses?
Quarter horses.
Did she say corduroy?
Yeah, you did say corduroy. It's just a type. It's just a type of horse that I dived into first.
Oh, bet. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love thinking about what people get interested in.
Yeah, I think we need more hobbies. And that actually goes back to your point, like social connection.
Yeah.
I saw somebody make this post, I sent it to y'all, and it was something about we don't have as many cookouts as we used to.
Jamel used to.
Right. Jamel was having cookouts. I ain't seen it's been about 90 degrees for about 4 weeks now. I ain't seen a cookout yet.
I ain't seen a burger.
This nigga been doing all kind of additions to the house.
Right. ain't had nobody over.
Niggas getting pergolas and furniture.
I need new furniture. That's what I'm trying to.
Bro, we don't care about none of that, bro. We look. All we need is a paper plate.
and the chicken.
Yeah. That's all we need.
Well, I'm cooking at an event on Sunday, quiet as it's kept.
Sunday.
Okay.
Right.
I like that.
Okay.
I got an event on Sunday too. You cooking at that?
Yes.
Oh, we had Splash. Shout out to Ivo. Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Oh.
So Jamel cooking at Tell a Friend. Splash on Sundays.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to True Star. Shout out to Yo Yanni.
What you call it? Really organizing y'all. Is
Ivo.
it Ivo or Brandon?
That's what happens when you're in the mid circle.
First of all,
We support each other.
we are in community with our people.
Yes, Sirski.
You know what I'm saying?
Please.
So this ain't just a, you know what I mean? We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. We out here.
Okay, host and cook. Y'all, neither one of y'all invited
Put
me.
both of your fingers
Y'all
away.
Fake.
Put both of your fingers away. Tuck them away. All right, so
So why didn't y'all invite me?
I did.
I just accepted it today.
Okay.
I invited you.
You didn't.
Yeah.
How?
I heard Mike
Remember
invite
you
you.
was like, I told you, I was like, yo, I'm hosting this thing on Sunday, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I ain't gonna say what you said. Shout out to Ivo. Shout out to Ivo.
I remember him saying that in the
That's
office.
because I saw it. I said, "Are you hosting this thing?" I mean,
So
I
you
need this
destined
great
to be a
event.
hater?
I'm not a hater.
This is like, this predestination.
No.
Do y'all believe in predestination?
I don't know. I do believe we all gotta love our life, so I kind of do.
Oh, you feel like you got one soulmate.
No, I think I got many soulmates. But
So what's a
one
love of
person
your
who was
life?
like-
What's the difference in that?
I got a soulmate for each lifetime of my lifespan.
Wait a minute.
Boy, Erica was a player, boy. Erica saw y'all a lot of the player. But that's crazy.
Erica gonna put you on the blade.
Yeah, nah, that's wild right there. Hey, easy, that's crazy right there. That was wild.
You
bro.
got a what?
You said you got a soulmate for every cycle of life?
She got a soulmate for every lifetime in her life cycle. What?
Golly.
Because
Break it down.
there's different parts of you. Like, you know,
Okay.
as different you emerge, it's like it might be different soulmates. Soulmates can be friends, could be romantic partners, but you know, it might change.
Okay.
But I feel like if I were to get married, it have to be like, you are the love of my life. Like, God had to be like, that is the person.
Well, we are very blessed and fortunate
I feel
to be able to experience this current lifetime. And what's happening in this current lifetime?
Might not be with me this whole lifetime.
What are you talking about, yo?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You be taking stuff too far.
Erica, what you
took it too far.
No, okay, I tried to transition out, but let's lock it.
A lifetime might
What
be
we doing?
7 years, or it might be 13.
So hold on. So you telling me you have a soulmate for every 7 years?
What's your definition of a lifetime?
Like,
you got a soulmate every 7 years.
Hold on. I want to get this clear. What? I'm a muscle on the. I'm a muscle.
Yo, what? You got a soulmate every 7 years.
If she ain't got on the AP, she is not mine. He cold. What is your definition of a lifetime?
Like, you might go through significant changes throughout your life, and you give birth.
So you think a lifetime is a life
version.
experience?
Yeah, like a.
Oh, you confused.
I'm not. That's me.
Yeah, that's you. That's on you.
No. I want to be very, very clear here. A life experience is not a lifetime.
I don't like say what you mean by life experience.
You said you have different soulmates for different points in your life.
Yeah, different versions.
The points in your life make up a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know.
So those are not lifetimes.
So what would you say is a lifetime?
The day you're born.
I don't agree with that.
And the day you transition.
However much time is in between there, that's your lifetime.
You could change so much throughout different parts of your life.
Oh, so you got a split personality.
No. Okay. I'm just saying. I seen it. Okay.
I feel like that's a cop-out.
What you mean?
It's a cop-out because you're not really committing.
I am committed.
You're not committing. You're committing to a temporary moment. You're not committing to the whole thing. You're not committing to the foreseeable future.
I could with the right person.
Oh, okay.
I could.
Yeah, with the right person. So with the right person.
I see what's going on.
So with
here.
the right person, they can be with you throughout the phases of your life because they change it too.
Maybe.
Ooh, you player, boy. You got to put this behind some players. She cold. She cold right here.
This is stressing me.
Yeah, she cold.
Yeah, it should be. It should be.
Yeah,
It
she
should
cold
be.
right here, boy. You are
I would,
cold on them.
as a friend, I would recommend that you reevaluate that thought process.
Why?
Because what is the issue with being like,
Oh my God.
okay, so at this point in your life, right, do you feel like you have a somewhat of a handle on right and wrong?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
What's right and wrong for me, yeah.
Yeah. So what's right and wrong for you may somewhat evolve and change as time and the landscape around you evolves and changes. Mm-hmm. But the main compass of what you, your foundation is your foundation.
Yeah.
Your lifetime is built on that foundation.
Gotcha.
So if you're saying, well, I'm going through this iteration and that iteration, so you just willy nilly. As Erica Perry like to say, you willy nilly out here. You may be somebody totally different tomorrow.
You sound like somebody I know.
Oh Lord.
You?
No.
Okay, we'll move on. On this day in history. All right?
Yeah.
Happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, Zersky.
And what do we mark Juneteenth as, y'all? I've been talking a lot, so y'all tell me what Juneteenth is.
What you mean, like historically?
Yeah. Just say that.
Yeah, so like on June 19th, 1865, that's when folks in Galveston, Texas, found out that they were emancipated.
Okay, stop right there.
Yeah.
So happy Juneteenth for everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is a freedom day for us.
Nah, for real.
But we on the pod, Get the Goods podcast, episode 39.
Yeah.
On this day in history, June 19th.
Yeah.
Or you know how we do it, right?
Yeah.
What y'all got? Oh, you know what? I'm a hold.
Okay.
Because we're going in chronological order. I think I got the first one.
Uh-huh.
Boom. June 21st. I'm going to be a little flexible. June 21st.
Okay.
2018. Y'all know what happened? Virgil Abloh has his first Louis Vuitton fashion show in Paris.
I remember when they dropped two. That was crazy.
With the rainbow runway.
Yeah.
With he had the purple pants on with the black tee. He came out, put his hand on the side of his head. That's when him and Kanye hugged after beefing for forever.
Yeah.
Like that was a real big moment. And for all of like the people that's like streetwear heads, for the folks that's like Off-White, before that Pyrex, that was like in the culture, that was in the hip hop culture, that was like understanding what Virgil meant to us and how he was like a mastermind and a brilliant human being, to see him get that position was like an apex moment.
No, for real. To have somebody that is that much of the culture be a part of a fashion house that's that big, and at that center point, that was amazing, yo. That was such a moment.
And then the drop, and it's black. You know what I'm saying? You get the energy of the culture that he always had with him.
Where you say from Chicago?
You know what? I don't know where Virgil's originally from. I know he was in Chicago. I don't know if he's originally from Chicago. That's a good question.
Yeah.
But he was Kanye's creative director for a long period of time. Yeah. But you know,
everybody beef with Kanye at some point.
Everybody got mental health problems. Some more than others. But that was a big moment. And Mike Ewing was here earlier. Shout out Mike Ewing. Shout out to Fisk, our cousins down the street on Jefferson. I remember when Virgil had that show and they had a showing in Fisk Art Gallery.
Oh, that was
and
fire.
Folks went down there and we watched it was a live stream that folks watched on YouTube of like that fashion show. It's like a lot of creative people there. And it made me think about like, what do you want to leave behind? Because also, just for context, this happens a year roughly before he gets diagnosed with like a terminal illness. And a year after that, we go into a pandemic, right? Yeah. So he sees the height of all of his work come to fruition, and then his physical health gets a major devastation, and then the state of the world gets a major devastation, followed like from a public health perspective, and then also from a George Floyd uprisings perspective.
Yeah.
So he sees all of these things begin to fall around him, and what he decides to do, he immediately begins dispersing everything. Like he's saying like, yo, it's cool with me if you bootleg Off-White. I don't mind. Like Off-White is the brand of everybody. Like if you want to go make an Off-White t-shirt and sell it, I'm not tripping on it. Like he's giving people t-shirt guides on how to design and design tutorials on websites that you can download and PDFs of this. And he's doing these speeches at colleges. And he's like, I want to give all the knowledge that I have in me. I want to give it out. Yeah. What do y'all think that means when people begin to like confront their mortality, right? And what does that mean for us, knowing that we have a limited time on this earth? And once that becomes more real, the decisions you make with that time.
I think it's very important for us to succession plan, right? I think it's very important for us because what you just talked about was the handing off of knowledge. I think black folks in particular, I think it's very important for us to succession plan and hand off knowledge so that we don't have to keep starting from zero. Right. There's this thing in a geography study called a systematic brain drain. That's when every piece of intelligence inside of the community gets sent away for some reason. Right. We've experienced this before with the crime bill that locked up a whole slew of people. Right. So what does it look like to actually have succession planning in place where knowledge can be passed down in ways where we don't have to continue to start back over? That's what because I remember when he was doing that and he was talking about like how to design rooms and how to design different pieces and literally just giving it out. And I think that's important because you create an energy of sharing, right? It was almost a great example of being anti-capitalist light. It was like, I'm going to let everybody, this is a communal thing, right? Which I think is very interesting. But I do think we need overlapping succession planning. Just in general, right? So that we can continuously move in a direction that gets us all free.
Which means we have to perpetually invest in the generations that come after us.
Absolutely.
Like they should be able to learn everything that we know, earlier in their lives than we learned it.
I have two thoughts. The first one is I think about, okay, am I living my life to the fullest? Like if I were like about to leave and I had to sit with myself, I'd be like, what regrets do I have? Did I go hard enough? Did I dance enough? Did I like have enough joy? Did I like
That's a great
do all those
question.
things? Like, And some days I'm like, and I'm like, am I taking enough risk? You know what I mean? Because like if we know we're wrapping up, you know, at some point we gonna be up out of here, and I'm like, am I actually being full? Because sometimes like if you acknowledge that like we're gonna leave, this ends, then I feel like sometimes it takes the weight of like being afraid that I might look goofy or I might look silly. You get to embrace like, you know, who you truly are and take that risk and do that thing. And so I think that has been a part of what like inspires and moves me. But there are still days when I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm taking enough risk. I don't think I'm doing enough. But to your other point about like young people, I kind of sit in this dilemma where I'm like, I want to make sure the younger generation knows what we know and are prepared. And at the same time, I want them to enjoy, you know, what it means to be young and not have the like weight of like, I have to lead and I have to take on this big system. It's like, how do we hold both? Because some kids ain't got to do that, you know, but our young people particularly, we're like, you immediately responsible. You immediately got to be the next entrepreneur. We start, you know, telling them immediately you're responsible for changing this system. And so I think I contemplate that as a person, you know, we organize young people. We started 14. We have 9-year-olds in the room. And I'm like, yo, like.
I was finna say, we start before.
Yeah, right.
Shout out Tatiana.
We start early. So I think my answer then, one piece that I think about is like, well, I have to make sure we are infusing like opportunities for them to be in their joy and be in their light on a consistent basis to kind of like be able to balance out the maybe the invitations to have to hold change in the world too.
Yeah, that's a struggle for me because for instance, like that's a struggle for me because I do think there's a place for work and there's a place for fun, right? And I think we do a disservice to our young people when we try to do too much of the mixing of both. We actually end up creating an undisciplined generation who doesn't understand how to check into work and then be able to check into fun without having to bleed them over. Let me give you an example, right? If we are, let's rewind the clock all the way until we have to, the village is only able to consume what we produce, right? That means that our labor is the thing that keeps our village alive. That means that we actually need our young people to understand how to till soil very early on. If we mix all of that with fun, right? If we don't actually have a structure of teaching them, then we're not eating once we transition. So that's a piece I struggle with because I was in programs that told me like, you are African from day one. You are African. And most people that look like you are not going to consider themselves African. But since you are aware that you are African, it is your duty to help those around you both see themselves and change the world. That was put on me very early, but also at the same time, we had fun, right? Because we understood the culture of that. But I just don't want to lose the discipline that it takes to actually work. And that is consistently my fear.
Okay.
But I think we had the responsibility to sing in the field. Like, I think a big part of the reality of the work and the labor that we have to put in is that it is strenuous. It is at some point seemingly impossible to complete the task that we are assuming to complete or we endeavor to complete.
Yeah.
But I also think the way in which you get there is by singing while you do the work.
I agree.
Right? Both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even though this work is grueling and it's going to be days you don't want to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to be times where you don't want to get out there and get out there and reap the fields and do all of these different things. But I think when we all collectively sing, when we do that, there's moments where we can find joy in the work, even though it may be backbreaking, it may be hot, it may be the sweatiest, it may be the longest days. But
and
there,
harmony.
but there, and there's encouragement there of like, you're not out here by yourself, right? And you can hear and feel the people around you that are pursuing the same goal.
Thank you, because I'm like, how do we produce resilient young people that turn into resilient adults? Because what capitalism will teach them is that if you don't feel like going to work today, you don't have to go. Like,
you feel like capitalism teaches people that?
oh yeah, absolutely.
How?
I think it teaches folks to seek out pleasure, right? So whenever there's anything that's a struggle to understand, I think it teaches our folks to not look at it, to become blind to it and not see it in certain ways, right? Whether that is through alcohol, whether that is through substances, whether that is through shopping. So our people use that to cope oftentimes, right? But that was a behavior that was taught to them so they are easier to exploit, right? If I don't even care about the exploitation, then I'm just going to accept what I'm getting as just normal.
I don't disagree with you, but I do think the way that we live under capitalism, like folks are forced to labor.
Absolutely.
But they choose. So I think people are like, I have to labor, I have to go to work. Now, I don't have to go to this community meeting. But I think that's the choice people are making. But a lot of people are like, if I don't go to work, I don't eat. Like, that's actually how most people are living their life. So that's why people be like, we live paycheck to paycheck. Because when they lose their job, they lose their health insurance. Then they medicine costs too much. And then they like, I got to pay for medicine or I can't pay for rent. Like, that's people's life.
Right.
So most people are like forcing themselves to go to work.
Right.
I know social media saying something different, but like, most people I know, they like, no, like they can't miss work because they working hourly wages. You know, it's yeah.
Well, let me explain it in a different way because I think we're saying two different things. I totally agree with what you're saying. Yeah. What I'm talking about is the cycles of what I'm talking about is the cycles of advertisement and propaganda that goes on social media that tells black people in particular not to do anything. Right, whether it's don't participate in protests, don't care about ICE raids, 92%, it's time to rest. Those continual cycles of go to sleep, don't even worry about it. Right, you work enough. That's what I'm talking about. Right, it for some reason, and we can analyze it all day. For some reason, we saw them live. We talked about on this podcast. Black folks are consistently targeted with not participating, with convincing us. ICE don't have nothing to do with you. Well, we know the majority of immigrants that are being picked up by ICE are descendants of Africans. Mm-hmm. So literally, it's a consistent, concerted effort for us not to participate on different levels. That's what I'm talking about.
So would we be in alignment if you said capitalism forces people to labor, right, for the material gains of the people that own the means of production,
right?
If I can use it,
keep on.
I hate to hear.
Keep on. And the means of production means literally being able to take the raw goods and create accommodations
in the owners of those means
and commodities.
And with the time that you have left over, seek pleasure rather than seek freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
What my folks call living for the weekend.
Right.
I agree with that. The other thing, though, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna think more about it. But if some of the people who are being like, I'm in my rest mode now, if they like, I started doing work when I was 11, and they 35, 40, I can see why they like, yo, I'm tired, and that's why I feel like I said this a few months ago, but like, rest up and get back into the work.
Exactly.
Sing, dance, pray, rest. So you can come back, but some people have been like laboring, and when you labor so much, and you like, dang, you know, people talking wild to me. We took a big L, like they in their feelings, and they probably ain't really got the rest and care they need, so they wilding out.
And I want to bring up something that I talked to y'all about before.
But they said they was resting, but they making t-shirts.
We talk about the issue with let's change the language right here and now. Let's do away with rest.
Yeah.
Recovery, right? Let's use the language of recovery. Let's get to the point to where people know we in a fight, right? Let's say we playing. It's the NBA Finals. Let's say we playing in the NBA Finals, right?
Yeah.
You've been playing 86 games, however many games they played throughout the season.
Yeah.
But you still have a goal, right? And collectively, we have this goal of liberation. If you feel like that is a goal for you. If not, we have a different conversation to have. But if you feel like liberation is a goal for you, recovery is a thing, and that may look different, that may have so many different forms and variations that it can look like.
Yeah.
But the idea is we hold to the goal.
Right.
Even in our recovery, we hold to the goal. I may not be able to even finish the season.
But the people who want liberation are not the people who are like, I'm not doing nothing right now. They're not having that conversation online. Because I think some of the people who are like, we have nothing, this ain't got nothing to do with us, are not liberation. They are probably seeking freedom, individual freedom. Like, I want to make sure I'm good. Yeah. I don't know that as much as like I care about what's going on with people in.
I have a rebuttal to that, because I feel like if you seeking individual freedom, that doesn't so much matter if the collective is not free. I'm gonna tell you why.
Hold on.
If you have, let's say you got your individual freedom, and a nigga that don't come in and take your individual freedom. They not thinking
like that though.
But that's the reality of life.
I'm saying the people who are like, I'm in my rest mode. What's happening right now in the U.S. ain't got nothing to do with me. One,
individuals.
They individuals. They not thinking about. Oh, so and so ain't got what they need, so they finna come from me. And we should try to move them to see the connection. But
I hear what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is, they don't know that what they're actually looking for is something different.
Yeah.
Right? They're prescribing the wrong medicine to the same sickness that we're all facing.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you got a headache. Taking a Tylenol might get you through tonight, but it's not going to cure the reason why you had a headache.
Yeah.
Hydration or whatever the health issue, the root cause of the issue is what we actually are fighting against. But you're being short-sighted and saying, I'm just trying to stop this headache for the next 3 hours so I can do whatever it is I'm trying to do, or so I can get some rest or whatever. That's not actually the fight. And I think that's one thing that people have to conquer in order to actually solve this issue.
No, I agree. I think this type of conversation is worthwhile with people. You know, I think it's plenty of people who are like, I'm in rest mode, but we can invite them back into the
Of course.
work.
Yeah. And it just because it feels like we're wrapping this up, I do want to say just this one thing.
Come on.
I want to say this one thing, right? These words have very specific meanings. There's no other thing that we're talking about, right? So we talk about liberation. That means the freedom of the complete community. That doesn't mean one person.
Yeah.
When we talk about revolution, we're talking about a transformation, a complete transformation of society, values and culture, right? Because what some folks like to do sometimes is
and the transfer of resources,
and the transfer of the means of production to ownership of the people, right? For a collective good.
That we steward the land, not own the land.
Run them down. Right. There's one meaning for revolution. One, right? There's one meaning for emancipation. There's one meaning for liberation, right? What we cannot do is do this thing where we need to redefine what revolution means in this day and age. No, we don't. It means one thing. It means one thing. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because that's what frustrates me. People want to reimagine, redefine, re-understand. No. It ain't no re.
Ain't no re
here. It's one goal, one mission, one sound.
Only re is revolution.
We're not doing that, bro. We're not redefining none of that.
And it's dope that you brought that point up, because revolution, we talk about the liberation of our people, brings us to Juneteenth.
Right.
Yeah. I want us to land this, because there may be some people that have never gotten like the opportunity to hear like a cut and dry explanation of this history. We got our resident historian here, Jamel Campbell Gooch. Can you give us a quick Juneteenth history?
Right. So there was a delay for when Africans that were enslaved in bondage on plantations realized that they were free, right? If you remember, there's a certain network of information that spreads. So in June 19th, 1865, that's when the folks in Galveston, Texas found out that they were free. Now, what's interesting, Nashville plays a very specific role in Civil War. We're the last to enter into the Confederacy, and we the first ones out.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Like
not Tennessee.
That.
We the first ones out in Nashville.
So it was in the Confederacy for like what? How many?
6 months.
Really?
Was in the Confederacy for 6 months.
Got in and got out.
I did not know that.
Take me out.
Oh yeah, Nashville. Yeah. The reason why.
Your people was in
yeah. My people, we want to rock with that.
And Jordan's people.
And Jordan's folks. So think about it. Nashville has several interstates that run through it, right? At that point in time, we have railroads. So the idea is that one reason why the Confederacy wanted Nashville is the same reason why the Union came back and took it, is because it was a major transit stop for everywhere, right? So the Union takes Nashville in 6 months. Nashville becomes the largest fortified inland city in the Union, right? We have the largest inland fortification, Fort Negley, which is why we celebrate Juneteenth at Fort Negley, right? When the Union takes Nashville, and people don't want to admit this, black folks from around Tennessee see the Union Army as a transition to freedom. So they begin to migrate. It's called the Great, it's literally a term called the Great Migration in Nashville, right? So as black folks move in, those who are Confederate sympathizers move out. So there's a transition of the way Nashville looks. This is when Nashville becomes the second largest densely populated city of black folks in Tennessee outside of Memphis. So, all right. So once emancipation happens, the black folks in Nashville, they like, oh yeah, we free. Bam. So there's no delay there. But in those outer counties, Paris, Tennessee, going towards East Tennessee, there's also a delay similar to Galveston. So what ends up happening is when the Union realizes that Confederates are taking advantage of these enslaved Africans not knowing that they were free, they send Union generals out to start emancipating people on properties. So that delay that happens in Galveston, Texas, usually we only talk about Galveston, Texas, but that is happening across the South in these rural pocketed areas where there might be large plantations or small plantations, but the network of information hasn't gotten there yet. So the Union takes it upon themselves. Later on, they use this same network to set up the Freedmen's Bureau, right? But they take their network and try to make sure that every enslaved African across the South understands that they have these new rights that they did not have before. Last thing, when we talk about reparations, right, the federal government thought that they gave us reparations. We don't talk about this. They thought reparations would be teaching black folks, Africans, how to read and write, right? And then they sell us this idea of the American dream. So they don't see reparations as payment for forced labor. They see reparations as you being able to function. So that's why a lot of our institutions start off as normal schools. Tennessee normal, right? Alabama normal.
Which makes sense because that is, if your concept is building a new nation, right? If we look at Fidel Castro in Cuba, the first thing he goes towards is literacy. Right. He feels like people have to have that ability to participate in democracy.
Right.
But I think what may have gotten lost is what you said is payment for forced labor.
Right. So we get folks like Callie House in the Middle Tennessee area who was born on a plantation that come up with things like the Negro Pension Act, which is supposed to give newly emancipated Africans a pension for unpaid labor. Right? It doesn't take off because folks like W.E.B. Du Bois, who is very much so invested in building up these educational institutions, are like, no, we need an education first, right? Which is, if you realize, is the same argument that happens today when we start talking about cash payments for descendants of slaves. What do they say?
Or even GBI.
Or even a guaranteed basic income. What do they say?
Financial literacy.
Financial literacy. But the thing that you never see attached, which is interesting, you never see the direct cash payment attached to the financial literacy. In other words, they never say, all right, since you need quote unquote financial literacy, let's sit you down for 10 months and then at the end, we'll put you on guaranteed basic income. You never see them combined in that way.
You know what's also interesting too?
They should give them the money and teach them financial. If I don't even agree with the financial literacy piece,
you know what's interesting about the financial literacy thing? People are also teaching you financial literacy in the context of how they want you to use the money.
Right.
They don't teach you financial literacy in the concept of co-ops or solidarity economies.
Right.
They're not teaching it
how you combine your money
in
that way.
It's like your money should go in this way.
Right.
I need to see what they talking about financial literacy because I never had a class.
Oh, that's why you broke.
He said, I ain't owning that. But
Well, I'm broke now.
Come on.
But do y'all remember when Juneteenth was something that wasn't like nationally recognized? When it was kind of like just
it just
like
became. When did it become a holiday? I forget.
like 2 years ago. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was only recently. But do y'all remember when it was like?
Yeah, but they used to do it in Memphis all the time. When I lived in Memphis. The Douglas. It was Douglas. I can remember something Douglas. They used to have they had a Juneteenth celebration every year. And I didn't really. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be out in the community this day. But yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, they've been going on for a minute though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's been
4 years old.
So it's been 4 years.
4 years old.
But I remember doing Juneteenth celebrations where it was like people would get off from work.
Because Juneteenth was a post-pandemic holiday for real.
Yeah, it was after 2020 when people started being like,
when they was painting the street. That's another conversation. But hey,
I do want to say Happy Pride.
Yeah, Happy Pride.
And also, I do want to say, because I'm gonna probably have to retract at the next podcast.
Oh Lord,
I do think people could be married for their whole life to one person. I think that's amazing and beautiful. And
wait, what's making you say this?
Well, I don't know.
Remember, I was talking about the lifetimes. And all
yeah.
Oh, so you saying I'm right?
You attracted the player.
I'm saying that people. There's so many paths to finding love.
There.
So you tucking your chain in, is
and
what you're
committing
saying.
to one another. Let's just keep reaching for each other.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. Yes, let's keep reaching. Hey, she signed out with the Get the Goods.
We're gonna address this.
Bro.
We're gonna address this later.
Yeah.
But look, thank y'all so much for rocking with us. It's been an absolutely amazing year. We really about halfway through the year.
Yeah.
We almost at the completion of month 6.
We gotta figure out a way to celebrate episode 50, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Now we gonna bring all the members.
That give us
in
like 10. That give us 10 episodes, so we get to 10, 11.
A live podcast.
Ooh.
Yeah, we might do a live.
Yeah,
have Khalil on.
Okay, if he's still here, shout out Khalil. Well, look, as always, man, if y'all want to find us, hit us up on social media at Southern Movement Co. On all social media platforms. If you want to ask us questions, if you have thoughts for the podcast, we will answer them on here. getthegoodspod@gmail.com. And y'all know what it is. When we work together,
we win together.
And when we win together,
we change the world.
Peace, y'all.